pink tan is the flavor of Suzhou. There is no exaggerated performance, no complicated scenery, and no sense of ceremony. It is just a cup of tea and a soft time. Therefore, if you can taste this soft feeling, you can feel the flavor of Suzhou.
大家下午好。首先欢迎江苏民歌，我们称江南小调。这个江南小调呢，大家非常熟悉，非但熟悉，我想在座大多数朋友都会哼唱。是哪一首呢？好一朵茉莉花。这首大家都非常的熟悉啊，但是你们自己会哼唱的，包括听到的，大多数都是普通话的吧？于老师呢，用我们苏州话吴侬软语来唱这一首《茉莉花》。好，首先欣赏好一朵茉莉花。
Many Chinese people like Suzhou. It is rich enough, has a long history, has an elegant environment, and has a refined life. But is this really the case? As a channel that talks about China, Suzhou is definitely the top priority of my channel. Suzhou and Hangzhou are both called paradise by the Chinese. But they are completely different. In my opinion, Suzhou people are very stubborn to surround this old city, so that such a small and beautiful city can be passed down from generation to generation. And I found that there is another difference between Suzhou people and Hangzhou people. Suzhou people don't seem to care much about what others think of Suzhou. So, in this issue, I will show you what kind of city Suzhou is. It is impossible not to talk about Suzhou Gardens when talking about Suzhou, and I am no exception. Because many people come to Suzhou for the purpose of Suzhou Gardens, which is the biggest selling point of Suzhou. However, let me talk about some truths. As a tourist attraction, Suzhou Gardens are very unqualified. It is not that they are not beautiful here, because the essence of the Jiangnan Gardens is private residences, which are used for living. You can only experience the fun of it if you treat it as your own residence. When you come to Suzhou Gardens, you can only take a quick look, and there are tourists all the time. It is impossible to experience the leisure and contentment of being in it. Look at this Tsunglong Pavilion on the rockery. If you know a little about photography, you will find that this is a very difficult scene to take a picture of, but if you have been to Japanese gardens, you can take a good picture with any mobile phone. But if you and your friends are still in the Tsunglong Pavilion, have a cup of tea, or just listen to the piano, this is simply a great place to enjoy it. So you can see why many Japanese gardens are more beautiful than Chinese gardens visually. Because Japanese gardens are essentially a visual product, and their ornamental value is far greater than their practicality. Most of their gardens are important components of temples and palace buildings, and must be independent landscapes, and people and landscapes are separate. Unlike the function of Chinese gardens, which are hidden in the city, in Chinese gardens, people must be in them and spend time in them to enjoy the fun. They are very practical gardens. So you look at this, dream in the garden, flowers on the sea. Regarding the most famous building, Suzhou Museum, I also want to say a few truthful words. I can actually understand why all the videos talking about Suzhou Museum are praising this building. After all, this is the greatest gift from the successful people of Suzhou to Suzhou. But it cannot be denied that the function and positioning of this building are completely misplaced, just like the Suzhou Gardens. If you look at the design intention of this building, it does integrate the style of traditional Suzhou architecture. When I walked into it, I could indeed feel a strong spatial design intention, but the design of this building is essentially a design concept of a private house, and it is not suitable for use as a museum. In fact, some of the designs here are very artistic, but the premise is that you have to clear your mind of the crowds that are crowded here all year round. But obviously, this kind of space is more suitable for an art gallery or a high-end hotel. The further you go in, the more you feel this way. When you walk in this space, you can see that there are not too many people that you can't stand, but I feel a little stuffy and short of oxygen after standing here for a while. There is also this kind of exhibition display. From the design of the space to the lighting design, basically there is no highlight on the exhibits. If it is used as a personal collection space, it may be more suitable. When I walked into this hall, I already felt like I was walking into a high-end hotel. In fact, some of the designs here are very artistic, but the premise is that you have to clear your mind of the crowds that are crowded here all year round. But obviously, this kind of space is more suitable for an art gallery or a high-end hotel. The further you go in, the more you feel this way. When you walk in this space, you can see that there are not too many people that you can't stand, but I feel a little stuffy and short of oxygen after standing here for a while. There is also this kind of exhibition display. From the design of the space to the lighting design, basically there is no highlight on the exhibits. If it is used as a personal collection space, it may be more suitable. When I walked into this hall, I already felt like I was walking into a high-end hotel. Next, let's talk about Suzhou Center and the Oriental Gate, which is now the landmark of Suzhou. Let me first say my conclusion. Among all the weird buildings I have seen, this Oriental Gate is absolutely the bottom in terms of aesthetics. Even compared with the CCTV headquarters building in Beijing, I still stick to this conclusion. I really find it difficult to understand why the design of this building must be compared with the shape of the Suzhou Gardens. The lines and shapes are not smooth and beautiful no matter how you look at them. So it's no wonder that everyone uses warm pants to describe it. Although I personally have no interest in this kind of landmark building, to be honest, the inverted pants building in Hangzhou is obviously more elegant. To be honest, if Pei was still alive, it would be much better if he was asked to design this building. The Bank of China building in Hong Kong is a very good example. There is also this Suzhou Center Plaza, which is very ordinary. It is just a slightly larger shopping mall. The shape and internal design are similar to any shopping mall in the country. There is basically nothing worth talking about. I think it is entirely because of the Jinji Lake and this Oriental Gate that it has become slightly popular. This is the entrance of the Nanmen subway station in Suzhou. I am not used to it when I come out. I am used to seeing the scene of high-rise buildings in the center of Chinese cities. The first impression of Suzhou is that it is not a big city. Of course, I know this is not Suzhou's problem, because this is indeed done intentionally by Suzhou to protect the old city. Guanqian Street and Pingjiang Road are prepared for tourists so that tourists can quickly meet their expectations of coming to Suzhou. And you will find that Shirquan Street is completely different from Yulin Road in Chengdu. It is also a gathering place for internet celebrity stores prepared for tourists. I didn't see any breath of life, but I saw a sense of déjà vu of plastic flowers. Because Suzhou is not suitable for tourism at all, you need to live here to feel it. This is actually the same as what I said above about visiting gardens. When you walk into these white-walled gray-tile alleys and narrow streets that are not tourist attractions, and when you walk and find a small bridge at the corner in front, you can feel the temperament of Suzhou. This temperament does not exist in Hangzhou, Nanjing, Wuxi, or Shanghai, only Suzhou. This kind of alley has the feeling of Beijing's hutongs, and is just like the small streets I visited in Kyoto. This is the real scene of life. So, don't come to Suzhou for tourism, but live here. There is nothing to question whether Suzhou has nightlife and food. But if you don't have any expectations like me, you will get a lot of surprises. But as I said above, Suzhou has protected the old city very well, which also allows the old Suzhou people living here to maintain their original lifestyle. In Fengmenhengjie, you can feel the market atmosphere that is completely absent in Guanqian Street. I think this is a place where old Suzhou people really want to come. They can wait for more than 10 minutes for a few steamed buns. The antique street in the Confucian Temple also preserves the trading methods of decades ago. Suzhou will never create a night market specifically to create a kind of life atmosphere, but you can also find the street stalls of small county towns at a street corner at night. Suzhou is not pretentious at all, it is what it should be. I spent most of the day walking around Taihu Lake. I think this is probably the closest natural landscape to Suzhou, and it may be the only one. Fortunately, there is Taihu Lake, otherwise I think Suzhou people would not only have to fly to other cities, but also go to other cities to spend the weekend. Taihu Lake is also large enough, with enough scenery, enough for people from Suzhou, Wuxi, Changzhou and Shanghai to enjoy their time. This beautiful road along the lake also made me want to ride a bike. Sitting in a small village, there are also small Jiangnan scenes to enjoy. I also accidentally came across a huge Guanyin statue. Later I learned that there are many such Buddha statues in Jiangsu, Zhejiang and Shanghai. There is also a Lingshan Buddha in Wuxi, Taihu Lake. There is also a big Buddha in Baolin Zen temple in Changzhou, both of which are super Buddhas rarely seen in the country. There are some places in Suzhou that are well known to everyone. Guanqian Street has become a tourist street. Basi Pagoda and Tiger Hill are also must-see historical sites in Suzhou. There are enough videos introducing these attractions, so I don't need to repeat them. But I think I have talked about what kind of city Suzhou is, just like the length of this video. To be honest, after staying in Suzhou for a few days, I felt a little bored. I think I have tried hard to find some interesting places in Suzhou, but the result is still regrettable. Maybe if there is something I don't know, you can leave me a message in the comment area. Finally, I have another question, which is the feeling of driving in Suzhou. Although my camera did not take pictures, driving in Suzhou does enjoy the treatment that is not available in other countries. That is, you can cut in and change lanes at will. It is impossible to ask them to turn on the turn signal. They almost all overtake by rubbing against the front of my car. I had driven in so many places in China, but I have never encountered so many cities with extreme overtaking. This feeling is particularly obvious when driving from Shanghai to Suzhou. I have a question: what makes Suzhou people so anxious? Another thing is that Suzhou not only maintains its tradition in urban construction, but also maintains the original sense of relaxation in people's living conditions. When walking on this messy intersection, you can't feel the order that a modern city should have. You can also find scenes on the street corners that are almost impossible to see in Hangzhou and Shanghai. This sense of relaxation in Suzhou is obviously different from the Suzhou that everyone imagines. How do you evaluate Suzhou? There is heaven above and Suzhou and Hangzhou below. I have visited both Suzhou and Hangzhou. Obviously, either city is heaven. I think it is just that in history, these two cities are indeed more prosperous than other cities in China. Now, because many cities in China have greatly evolved in urban construction, there is not such a big gap. If there is a gap, it is probably that the cities in Jiangsu, Zhejiang and Shanghai are obviously far ahead of other parts of the country in terms of business environment. Although the two cities are not far apart geographically, they can be said to be completely different. Hangzhou is more refined and Suzhou is more relaxed. It is also possible that the people of Suzhou are busy making money now. They don't care much about the image and tourism of this city. They live the same way as before, and they don't care much about what others think of Suzhou. Whether there are high-rise buildings, airports, or whether it is going to become a super city, they don't care much. Even whether the long johns look good, it seems that no one cares. On the contrary, Hangzhou people care about these things. I think this is probably related to the fact that Hangzhou people are more particular about everything. Anyway, this is my feeling. If you like the Jiangnan style and want to relax and have a good time, Suzhou is a good place. It's just a little boring. There are no mountains or scenery, no nightlife or fireworks. Of course, the whole Suzhou, Wuxi and Changzhou are probably similar. That's all for Suzhou. Next time, we'll talk about Wuhan, an interesting place.